Hello, welcome to Stamp Designs with Denise. I am Denise Johnson, an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up, coming to you from Bedford, New Hampshire. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate having you here, being creative with me. Today we're going to be making some alternate cards for the Paper Pumpkin Expressions in Color kit. So Paper Pumpkin is a monthly subscription kit that you can get from Stampin' Up. And it usually makes like 8 or 9 cards depending on what the kit contains. Sometimes they're treat boxes or little projects or something, but so today we're going to be making some cards. The kits are always great. They have great ideas. There's also a ton of alternate ideas and things that you can do with them. And if you subscribe and you're worried about doing the monthly commitment, you can always suspend for a month. They do give you some hints about the upcoming month, so you can always suspend it if it is something that doesn't interest you or doesn't sound like something you would enjoy. It's a great way to build up a lot of different sentiments and sayings if you subscribe. And so this month's kit has some coordinating products that are in the annual catalog, and actually they coordinate with the ones that are right here on the color. They are part of the Expressions in Ink suite of products, which is on page 96 of the catalog. And so we will be using, I'm not using any of the suite today, but we will be using some of the designer series paper, and then there are some gold accents that come in this suite, and we will be using those too. So if you have the catalog and you'd like to check that out, it's on page 96. So I'm going to get my camera turned around and we're going to start having some fun creating our alternate cards. Okay, thank you for joining me. I am so embarrassed. I thought I was videotaping myself and I kept talking and going on and on and on, and I made a card and everything, and then I realized that I never ever started the video. So I'm gonna start all over again and then show you the card that I did make, but it's not gonna be on the video now, but I will explain it to you. So our Paper Pumpkin kit for this month is Expressions in Color. You are able to make 3 different cards with this kit. These are the cards that I made, and it comes with plain white envelopes, and so I used some of the Expressions in Ink designer series paper that I talked about that came with that suite of products. You can buy just the designer series paper if you want. It has all of these great kind of water wash colors and the gold foiling accents on it, and so I use that to decorate my envelopes to coordinate with the cards. So inside your kit, you always get the directions, very detailed, so you understand what you're doing. There's always a stamp set, and I've already got mine all mounted. If you're a new subscriber, you get a 4x4 block with it. It comes with adhesives, and then there's always all the elements and everything that you need in here to make these cards. So let's get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. The next Paper Pumpkin kit for July, you should need to subscribe by July 10th if you're interested in this, is called The Adventure Begins. Life is full of big adventures that are best experienced together. Spark inspiration and share encouragement with a card inspired by nature itself. So this kit will make 12 cards with coordinating envelopes. The last chance products are still available until the end of June. These are products that are retiring from the January to June mini catalog. You're going to want to check the website, stampinup.com, to see which products are still available. Some of them have sold out and are unavailable now. Some of them have discounts up to 50% off. If you love the Paper Pumpkin kit, Stampin' Up has a line now, Creativity Made Easy. There is a kits collection. You can find that online at stampinup.com. They're very similar to the Paper Pumpkin kits. Everything you need is included. They're great for the summer if you're going away on a little trip, or you just want to sit next to the pool and put together a little creative project. These kits are great for that, so check those out online. It's always a great time to join Stampin' Up. I'd love to have you be a part of my team. And if you're interested, please reach out to me, and I'm happy to talk to you about this. There will also be a link on my blog that will have frequently asked questions. If you want to just look at that first, get some answers, and then contact me so we can talk about that. All of the pictures and measurements of the alternate cards I am making today will be on my blog, stampdesignswithdenise.net. So make sure you check that out. There will be a link in this video for that. This is, I showed you how I made in the video that I thought I was making, how I used the designer series paper to decorate the envelopes. So basically what I do is measure the envelope. This one's a little bit under 6 inches by a little bit over 2 1/4. I adhere some of the liquid glue to the envelope flap. I put my paper on it, and then I use my paper snips to trim out around the envelope, and then that gives me a decorated envelope to coordinate with my cards. And it just, I like doing that. I think it adds a little bit of excitement when you receive this card in the mail and you see how pretty the paper is. So this was the card that I had made. I had started with a basic white base. I use thick basic white because I like having the texture of the thick card. I think it adds a little bit more weight, I guess, to it. So the basic white was 8.5 by 5.5. I scored it 4 1/4. This underneath is one of these evening evergreen card bases, and I used my paper trimmer, and I trimmed this to 3.5 by 4 3/4. I used dimensionals and adhered that to my card base. This white vellum layer with the leaf print is one of the elements in the Paper Pumpkin kit this month. So is this label. And this greenery is also one of the elements in the kit. And I just used my paper snips and I trimmed it into these 3 pieces, adhered them to my card, and then the gold elements come from the Expressions in Ink ephemera pack. So there are 5 or 6 sheets of these in this pack. That's a part of that suite. And then you also get some of these sequins with that set. So actually the last thing we're going to do is add some of these sequins to our card. So these are the ones that come with the ephemera pack, and then there were also these sequins are a little bit larger and they have a hole in the center of them, whereas these do not. These were the ones that came with the kit. So you could use either one. So we're just going to add a little bit of this sparkle here with these ones that were in the kit. I mean, in our ephemera pack. So then, there we go. That was the first card I had made. Okay, so now on to our next card. Again, I have thick basic white, and this is 11 by 4 1/4. I've scored this one at 5.5. And then I've also scored it again at 4 1/4. So this is what we call a book fold card. If you've watched my videos, I love book fold cards. And I thought that this would be fun to do using these vellum elements. These both came from the kit, and I'm using the French rather than the thanks. I'm going to use merci, which is French for thank you. And we're going to use those on our card. And I am going to grab my foam here. So this is Misty Moonlight. This is 4 by 4, and this is 1 by 4. And then we're going to use this sort of splotch that was on our stamp set. And I'm using tone on tone, so we're doing the Misty Moonlight. ink as well. So my meme, which is French for grandmother, is French Canadian. So that's why I wanted to do the merci. Her and my dad used to talk French a lot together. I understood some of it, a little bit of it. I still understand a little bit, but not very much. I cannot hold a conversation with it at all. But that's why I like the merci. And let me put this out of the way. Okay, so we're going to attach these to our card. So I am going to use some twine, but I am going to attach this first. So that's going to fold like that. So that is adhered down, and then we're going to use our 1-inch piece, and I'm going to put this sort of where the book binding would be, right here. And let's see. So I like the way this vellum showed up on the darker paper. It shows up a little bit better, I thought, than on the lighter colored papers. So this kit sort of focuses on the in colors, and there are 2 sets of in colors. One is the 2020 to 2022 in color, and then the other one is the 2021 to 2023 in color. And so when I have vellum, I like to actually use my liquid glue to adhere it. And I have a sponge dauber. And I'm going to get my silicone mat out here. If you use like tape or glue dots or something, sometimes it can show through on the vellum, and we don't want that. So I found that if you do a light layer of this adhesive liquid glue, when it dries, it's going to dry clear. If you put too much glue on, you can see it when it dries. It doesn't dry as clear. But if you do this nice thin layer with your sponge dauber, then it will dry nice and clear, and you're not going to see it through. So I'm just going to hold that down for a minute. This silicone mat is good too, because when you get glue on it and it dries, you can just kind of scrape it right off with your finger, and it doesn't stay sticky. So now we're going to do our merci, and again, I'm using a little bit of this glue. And we will stick this across our book binding. So this I would just actually go and rinse off with water. The sponge dauber I will use again, but only for glue. I don't now use it for ink. It does kind of retain a little bit of stickiness, but I do rinse it all out with water, let it dry, and then I can use it again and keep using it again with the glue. So there we go. That's our card. I have this is the Flowers for Every Season ribbon combo pack. So it has this sort of white linen ribbon. It has this Just Jade gingham. And then it has this Misty Moonlight twine that has a little bit of a silver sparkle in it. So I just thought that I would wrap it right around where my crease is and put a bow there. I'm gonna tie a knot first, I think, and hopefully get it nice and tight. And then we'll put a little bow. Right like that. So that is our second card, and we can of course add some more sparkle. There's some of that silver in that twine, and we'll use some of these adhesive sequins that came in our paper pumpkin kit. And there we go. So let me get out our supplies for our next card. So on our past two cards, we've done very little stamping, but on this one, we are actually going to do a bunch of stamping. So I have, again, my thick basic white card base, 8.5 by 5.5. It is scored at 4 1/4. And then this is a bumblebee layer, and this is also one of those other card bases from the kit that I have trimmed down. And this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So then for layering, I have a basic white layer that is 3 3/4 inches by 5. So that will get layered right on top of that. We have one of the labels from the kit. And then I have this evening evergreen twine, which also came in the kit. So let's get our stamping. I'm going to bring my mat back out here. This is a piercing mat, and when I'm using photopolymer, I like it has a little bit of give, and so I like the pressure is good, and it helps make a nice stamped image. So for this, our sentiment is going to be sending hugs, and we're going to do that in the evening evergreen. And that is one of the colors that does come in the kit. And now we're going to stamp. So this kit came with a whole bunch of different floral elements. And let's see what else. I've got this, and then the little leaf, and let's go back, and we're going to use that splotch that we had on the last one. I need to clean it because I still got the misty moonlight on it. So this simple chamois is great for cleaning off your ink off your stamps. So we're using a whole bunch of the in colors for this. I have that evening evergreen, and then we're going to use soft succulent, polished pink, and bumblebee. And bumblebee was the other color that came. So let's start with our soft succulent, and I'm just going to put this down here in the corner. And then I'm going to do this larger flower arrangement in the evening evergreen. And I'm also going to do one of these on the inside of my card. Right like that. Okay, and now I'm going to do some of those other elements. Let's do our larger flower first here. This is going to be in the bumblebee. And then I'm going to fill in with the little leaf stamp, and we'll do that back with the soft succulent. So our stamped sentiment is going to go right here. So I'm not really putting anything in the middle because it is going to be covered up with our sentiment. And then our last one is this little flower, and we will do that in the polished pink. So the soft succulent, the evening evergreen, and the polished pink are all part of the 2021 in colors. And then the bumblebee, misty moonlight, and I think that's it. Those were the ones that were a part of the 2020 to 2022 in colors. So I think that's good for that. Let's put that out of the way, and then we're going to use our dimensionals, pop up our sentiment, and I'm going to put that right there. And then I'm going to do about 10 inches of my twine. And I do have a little bow maker because I want to make a double bow. So I'm going to wrap it around twice and then make a knot. And that gives me a little double bow. I'm going to trim my ends here. And then we'll use a glue dot to adhere this. Right there onto our sentiment. Now let's get this layered. And I also had, maybe I don't have it here, I had some of the in color enamel dots. Here we go. The 2021 in color jewels. So these are in each of the 5 in colors. This is the soft succulent, the fresh freesia, evening evergreen, the pale papaya, and then the polished pink. So I was just going to add a few of these for our sparkle, because you all know how much I love the sparkle. And we'll do one right there as well. And there we go. So that is that card. Let's get cleaned up a little bit, and we will make our last card. Okay, our last card is going to use the fresh freesia and the polished pink. And then here are our card elements. So I have a scrap piece of the basic white, and then this is another one of those cards, the third card base. So this is what it looks like. So you would have folded it, and inside would have been white. And so I wanted to not have the fresh freesia color on the back. So I cut the card in half on the seam, And then on this front piece, I cut off a 1/2 inch strip. So then I have a piece of the polished pink. This is 1 inch by 5.5, and I've scored it at 1/2 inch right down the middle. So this is sort of going to be maybe like a mini book fold. So what I want to do is put these both in like this. It shows off, it brings out some of that pink color in here, but then you also get to still see the fresh freesia. So we're going to put some glue on that side, and I'm going to stick my fresh freesia piece in. That's going to be my backing, but you want the fresh freesia to show as the inside of the card. And then this is our card front. So I'm going to put some, running out of glue, I think, whoops. And that's going to go on the front, like that. Make sure it's lined up even. There we go. So now you see, because I cut off that 1/4 inch, when it's closed, you get a little peekaboo of the fresh freesia on the inside. So I have my basic white, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to punch this with the Label Me Fancy. And I'll let that dry, get the other. So this is one of the gold elements that comes from that ephemera pack that's with the suite. These these leaves came in the paper pumpkin kit, and then this was our extra 1/2 inch piece that I cut off the front. So let me get my piercing mat back out here, and I am going to, let's see, I need to clean this off because we used the Evening Evergreen with it. And I'm going to use the fresh freesia, but I'm going to stamp off for it first. I think it's too dark at full strength, so we're going to stamp it off and then stamp it on there, stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp the other side. And then for my sentiment, I have "You Are Amazing." And we're going to do this one full strength and do that right in the middle. Make sure it's inked up nice. And there we go. So for this, I'm actually going to put this 1/2 inch piece on the inside. This is a great thing to do with these little tiny scraps rather than throwing them away. Let me see, I got a little bit too much glue, I think. So we'll just put that sort of here on the inside. Carry some of that design into the inside of the card. Now, let's score this good so it lays nice and flat. And then I am going to trim this with my scissors. So I'll layer these here. Let's see. Maybe we'll attach the leaves first using some glue dots. Gotta figure out how high I want it so that they stick out above the sentiment, like that. this, we're going to use, kind of set it kind of crooked so it shows. Let me grab a little bit of tape. I'm going to use dimensionals to pop it up, but it's so close to the edge, I think I need a little bit of tape to hold it in place. There we go. And have these stuck everywhere. Okay, there we go. And we will attach that right there. And then, of course, we will use our sequins from the kit, add some sparkle. And there we go. So that's a different way to use that card base so that you can see the back side of it and not just have the white interior. Kind of, I like that idea. Make the most of that card. So here, let's bring in our other cards. This is the one we stamped with all of the different elements from the stamp set. And this uses that vellum flower piece. And this was that leaf vellum. And then, of course, this is the envelope that I used that Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper to create the envelope. So this would actually go perfectly with that card right there. That would be very pretty to send it out like that. So there we are. Those are our cards. Remember, all of the pictures and measurements will be on my blog, stampdesignswithdenise.net. If you are interested in ordering any of the products that I showed you today that are not part of the Paper Pumpkin Kit, this is my June and July host code. If you would use that code, I would appreciate it. There are benefits to ordering from me, and I hope that you would do that. Please share and comment on my blog, on this video, and that helps me to keep coming and bringing you these creative videos. And remember, please leave a little sparkle wherever you go.